Spook.
Yes.
I've been really shaken this week. What a tragedy. You get this proud piece of history and some destructive, pointless act pretty much brings it to the ground, just raises it to dust almost. It's horrible.
It sounds horrible.
It is. I just can't believe it. Watching that footage, how sickening was that? How sad was that?
Can I just clarify? You're talking about Notre Dame, aren't you?
I was talking about Carlton Football Club.
Oh, it's not really a tragedy, though. It's more of a comedy.
Yeah, good point. I think I got rewatched the last 2 minutes of their match against the Gold Coast last week.
I'm not smiling.
Welcome to the round 5 episode of the Collingwood Rant. I am Sly.
And I am... Gee, it's great to be back, Spook.
Spook.
Yes.
We have just annihilated...
No, that was yesterday.
Yeah. Yes, but it was just.
It was just.
It was just. We've smashed the Brisbane Lions.
Yep.
What are your thoughts about this most impressive game?
We smashed the Lions.
Yeah, I'm actually putting this back 2 hours because it was such an impressive victory.
It was impressive. That third quarter.
Oh, let's start at the beginning. So...
What? The Earth was formed?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Then what happened next? We have to fill in time while you make time go backwards.
Okay. Yeah, so let's start at the beginning. It looked like we went back to some basics. Stephenson was back up forward.
Yep, the structure of the forward line was classic.
Coxie seemed to be playing closer to goal. And... what a catch. Buckley started Beams on the bench. We didn't play Greenwood. A lot of people thought we should have played Greenwood.
Not us.
But not us, to man up on Lockie Neal, who's had a great season so far.
It's a great season.
Great season. It was really good last night. We jumped out of the gates. We hit him hard. 7-goal first quarter. It looked like everything was working. And I don't think we've... And they said it was like the best opening quarter for the season for anyone.
The 666 rule's working.
Well,
I had
done,
faith.
Gil. Well done, Gil.
Knew it would come good.
Yes. Second quarter, they hit hard. They came back. We struggled a bit. While they were playing well, I thought the big problem there was our disposal was terrible. It really struggled. Kicking in front of the goal wasn't great. I mean, even though they came back, they only kicked 2-4 to our 1-4, so it wasn't like they really dominated. Third quarter, we came out, kicked the first few goals. We were up, looked like it's going to be an easy game. They came back hard at us yet again. Commentators who were very pro-Brisbane.
Were they?
Yes.
Do you actually have the volume turned up?
Unfortunately. I can't find the knob on the television to turn it down anymore.
You can't find your knob?
I thought we'd gotten rid of the Merkin jokes. Commentators actually mentioned if Brisbane got next time, it'd be interesting. And then we just went bang, bang, bang. And it went from being a little bit close to us being 50 plus points up.
I find that interesting.
And then the last quarter, we just sort of really probably brought the tempo down a bit and just held them at bay. You know, and I thought a few players started to play like...
Millionaires.
They shifted, yeah.
Millionaires.
I was going to say they shifted down a gear.
Well, they are millionaires, some of them.
Some of them. One guy who's probably not a millionaire yet, but we agreed his best on ground, was Brody Myercheck.
Oh, yes. Big fan of the Rant.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, no. We're a big fan of him on the Rant.
Yeah. Myercheck, what do we call him?
Mio.
No, I call him better than Buddy.
BTB.
Yep. I think he's an amazing find. He's 26. Physically, he looks like he's been around for quite a while in the AFL system.
Because he's like adult size.
Yeah, he's adult size. He's kicked 3 bags of 4 against Brisbane last night, against North last year, and against Fremantle last year.
Good work, Mio.
And he's only played...
How many's Buddy kicked against those guys?
No idea. He's just... Is
See,
this still a thing?
You just don't even care about his stats.
I don't care.
It's all about Mio.
So it was only his 21st game last night.
21.
21 games.
Happy 21st, mate.
And he's kicked 3 bags of 4. If you said he was a 20-year-old doing this, people would be raving about him, not ranting about him. They'd be raving about him.
There would be a fair bit of chafing in the nether regions, I would imagine.
He seems to have really good awareness. His goals come from varied things like, he'll run onto the ball. That little snag he did where he grabbed the ball out of the pack, stepped between players and then snapped it through.
And he had to get out of Coxie's shadow too, which is no mean feat.
He had to step all the way around. He had a set shot. To show how good he is, his first goal actually hit the post and they paid a goal.
Yeah,
he's that good. He's that good.
He must have glared at the umpire, I think. He said no.
What he's doing is amazing. He's a rookie. Last year he kicked 29 goals from 16 games last year.
Yes, I think we may have fact about that a bit during the year last year.
Yeah, and so this is a guy who's come in with very little acclaim.
Hairstyle?
He's got a really good hairstyle. Come with very good acclaim, and very little acclaim, sorry. And he's fitted into that forward line to be the second key position tall behind Coxie, or second and a half, because Coxie's 1.5.
I think everyone's behind Coxie as a tall.
And he really fell in there by accident because he's recruited as a backman.
Yes, this is true.
So, Mio, I cannot speak positively about him enough. You would have to be morbid to not like him.
Yeah.
Well, we know where that one's going. Trelaw really came back into the game.
Welcome back, mate.
Yep, did some really nice things. Pendlebury couldn't tell if he was tagging or running with
I couldn't tell if he was out there.
DeGoey went into the middle in the second quarter.
Turned the game.
And he was great in the third quarter. I thought in the fourth quarter his intensity just dropped. Adams, I thought, was good again. Side bottom.
Now we come to the elephant in the room. What's your thoughts on side bottom?
I think...
Speak from the heart.
Right.
Speak eloquently.
I think side bottom is an elite forward. I don't think he's an elite mid. And he, to me, is the anti-Sinclair.
Oh, no, I can't have this. Brayshaw tells me every 8 seconds that he's a superb user of the footy. He's an elite footballer.
Well,
how could Brayshaw get it so right and you get it so wrong?
I don't know. He had that stupid little snap that didn't make the distance. He had a couple of shanks, and he gave away a couple of needless frees. And maybe he's a bit out of form or whatever, but...
He hasn't had a great start to the year, I think.
But I've always thought he's like the anti-Sinclair. Ben Sinclair could do 16 great things or 16 solid things and 2 bad things, and people go, well, that's why he's terrible, because he did those 2 bad things.
It's the opposite, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
he does... Cyberrun does 2 great things, and people ignore, the poor snap. I mean, that snap was terrible. He was only about 25 out, and he didn't even make the distance. And that was at a time that they were coming at us. Some of these shanks and handball choices and free kicks were just... I think he's capable of elite passages, but I've never thought of him as an elite mid. And what I notice a lot with side bottom is a lot of time when he gets the ball, he'll start forward, he'll look for a teammate, he'll stop, then he'll prop, and then he'll kick sideways to someone 20 metres away. And I think that actually flatters his disposal efficiency. I would actually rather they played the Goey in the middle and they played side bottom up forward. I think side bottom... And
because I get very nervous when he's in defence.
Side bottom?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Play him up forward, get him away from defence. And the other thing with side bottom too is the way our forward line works, you probably need a couple of more crummers, and side bottom would be an elite crummer. Elliott and DeGoey are still more lead up players. Pass it to me, I'll take a mark. Side bottom's not that. You need. I don't know what it is at Collingwood. Whenever we get a small forward, they're a better lead up player than a crummer. You go to Dynak was a good lead up player. Leon Davis is a good lead up player. Paul Meadows is a good lead up player. Andrew Crackwell was probably genuinely a roving crummer, but we don't tend to find those sort of players. Even Dacos is, for all his ability, was still a lead up player. Blair was a lead up player at this height. So I'd rather see side bottom up forward. I mean, that's me, but other people think he's the most brilliant player to have ever played the game. That he's elite. I think
that's the frustrating thing with him. Is it really with the way he should be tracking? He should be up there by now, and he just keeps hovering at the cusp of being elite, but he just never makes that consistent final step. And you want him to be exceptionally good.
Oh, you don't need anyone at Collingwood to be exceptionally good.
But he's just he's like a tease. Is the way I've always viewed him.
Yeah, I thought when his earlier games, like the 2010 grand finals, I thought he was great. He probably should have won the Norm Smith medal, him or Daisy Thomas.
I texted you that on the day.
And as we've gone on, he seems to have lost a little bit of that bravado about his game, which I think players need. And I'll give you an example of Taylor Adams. He gets the ball and he'll go, well, I'm not just going to hand it off. I will try and work my way through traffic. He tries to make things happen. I reckon Subbottom's lost a bit of that from his game. And it's actually brought him down to being just really a glorified link man a lot of the time. Pendles seemed quiet. Stephenson was really pleasing. He was in everything. It's amazing what happens when you play him in a position he dominated in last year.
Who would have thought?
He is an absolute shot. Crispy was great.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm very impressed with Crispy last night.
Moore and Roughhead, they weren't dominant in how, but they did their job. I thought Langdon was really good, except for that silly deliberate.
Yeah, no, that was a bit of a brain fade on that one. But I think the thing is with the defenders too, that as I was saying before, that if they're not making glaring errors, they don't tend to stand out as much. And if you're not angry at them, maybe that their performance has been more than adequate on the night.
Oh, I mean, as we discussed, I mean, the thing with Langdon being paid deliberate, I just thought he said, look, I'm going to get tackled out, so I'll step over and spare myself the hit and just throw it in. He probably should have taken a hit and just gone over.
Well, it's hard to tell. I mean, again, with the footage, the camera's so close on him, you couldn't see what his options were up the field. And clearly, I think he tried a couple of times to look for something, but there was just nothing on offer, and then he's just stepped back, and then gone over. And I think he looked genuinely shattered that he got infringed against. Anyway.
But just annoys me. There's sort of the type of deliberates where you think, look, the player's got to have an option. If his only option is to lose the ball, that's not a genuine option. They paid a few of those taking the feet out yesterday, and they, again, overlooked a few of them, which is ridiculous. So I don't know how that rule works. It's, again, one of these murky, grey... is it too high, or is it taking the legs out?
Well, I would have thought on what was being shown over the last couple of weeks, Farks was deserved of a free at one point, where he
had his legs taken out in the pocket.
Taken out. And no, that was okay, but then wasn't that long afterwards, one was paid. I don't know whether that was in retaliation or a recognition that maybe we missed that one or cocked it up. I don't know.
They should actually have a qualification on it that, if you slide in, then you need to make the play. Now, if you slide in, grab the ball, handle it out to a teammate, well, how can you argue with that? They've done what they've actually gone to win the ball genuinely and try to create the play. If you've just slid in, taken someone's feet out, and then it just ends up being a mess, then fine, penalise people. But it's a really bad rule. You actually, every rule should give a player an option. That rule gives the players no option other than to hang back and not get the ball. Grundy was a little bit quieter. Elliott flashed in and out, but probably I thought looked actually dangerous, just that he wasn't the focus. So he could come in and out of it and play a genuinely crumbing game.
He's going to have to be viewed as a work in progress until structurally he finds a place to sit where he can be super productive. At this stage, you've just got to keep persisting and toying with the way that setup is so he can get into the games.
Yeah. But ultimately, I thought it was just a fantastic performance. You did not know what Brisbane would come out. They had 3 really good wins. They smashed West Coast up there. Essendon beat them last week, so you didn't know which way they'd go. In all likelihood, they were going to try and rebound. I mean, there's always a chance Essendon might have ruptured their confidence. But I actually thought they really tried hard and were just way too good for them. And it was, I think, probably one of the best games I've seen under Buckley as coach. Everything he did seemed to work. Even like bringing Beams on a little bit later and all that. It all seemed to just flow into the game. And when they did come at us a little bit hard, Buckley was very responsive. He proved to go straight into the guts. It wasn't let's wait 2 quarters and see how this goes.
Just on the Beams things, and this is this annoyed me a little bit last night. And I know it's part of the game, but Brisbane supporters would have cheered when Beams come to us or come to them. Then they're booing him because, well, he came to them for personal reasons. He had to leave because of personal reasons, and you get booed. I know it's part of the game, but it just logically just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, booing, that's happened through...
Isn't it a racial thing, though, booing?
It's happened for centuries, for like 400 years, I think, that when a player leaves their club and joins another club, when those 2 clubs play, the old fans will boo them, And it always happens, and people go, well, you shouldn't boo them because... they've given service to the club. It's like, it's part of the theatre of the game that these players will get booed when they've left the club, And I think someone like Beams' character, I think he probably thrives on it. I think he just sort of been snickering and going, and he even said it, he goes, well, I was booed by the Collingwood fans when I used to play here. So
it's a kind of magic.
Yeah, so I don't think it really bothers him. It's like when you read about Brian Lara, the West Indian cricketer, they said you didn't sledge him because it actually fired him up and you'd just make a fool of you. So he was one guy you just shut up to. And Beams to me seems like the sort of guy just, boo him and I think he's just laughing.
I don't think it personally upset him. I find it annoying. I mean, I'm not a booer myself. I don't think I've ever booed. I probably called them something else. But, ex-players, I've always, when Daisy left, You've gone to the most evil of evils, well, the most funny of funnies now. But the love you had for that player, you could never translate that into booing. You left for reasons, granted, whatever. People leave jobs all the time and go somewhere else. But I couldn't boo. I just don't get the whole booing side.
For me, it's just...
Unless it's a racial thing. When you're being a racist.
For me, it is totally just a theatre thing, And they said it in the movie Gladiator.
In the Gladiators?
Yeah, the Gladiators. In the movie Gladiator, 20 years ago...
Do you like movies about gladiators?
I love movies about gladiators. And they just said,
Have you ever been in a men's locker room naked?
No. They just said, Rome's a mob and all you got to do is please them. And that's, for me, what
Did Shakespeare write that?
No, I think...
it sounded like something Shakespeare
the key
wrote.
of goals. No, but I just think it's like...
super blood.
It's part of the theatre. That doesn't bother me in that context.
All right, we'll move on.
Any final thoughts?
No, I love the win. Every second of it.
And I think we gained about 12% in percentage, so...
Yeah, and we're second on the ladder. As long as the round stopped now.
Yes, but you'll be seeing this not now, so that will lose totally its time reference. Thank you.
Right, we're third on the ladder. We're fourth on the ladder. We're fifth on the ladder. We're sixth on the ladder.
Thanks for proving we're recorded. Everyone thought we were live. Anyway, we'll be back with Media Mephitic.
Right after these messages.
Welcome back. It is time for Media Mephitic.
I really love this segment. I missed it last week when we had that stupid fill-in.
And speaking of super fill-ins, he commentated last night, so you can't escape him. James Brayshaw.
By Jingo, by golly. Hang on, that's not him.
No. Is that Max Walker?
I think it's BT.
Anyway, James Brayshaw was sage enough to point out that...
Sage enough?
Sage enough.
Is that Latin for stupid?
Yeah, he pointed out that there's a short turnaround to Anzac Day.
Did he have a calendar in front of him?
I don't know.
Is there an app for this?
I don't know.
How does he do it? How does he put two and two together so quickly?
I would have thought that if you're playing on Thursday night and then you're playing Thursday again, that it's pretty much the standard turnaround of 7 days. I would think. I don't know.
Oh no, I can't do this without an app.
Mate,
I was never any good at maths.
Brayshaw might have some intel that Buckley plans to jog him back home and thinks, that'll just be a short turnaround.
Maybe they're going to carry the plane.
Continuing with
like slaves.
Continuing with Brayshaw, Lee Matthews said last night he wanted umpires to pay more free kicks.
Does he?
Yes. And Brayshaw just shut up because Brayshaw had the ratio of 30 frees.
But Brayshaw was proven right. There were 26 frees paid to each club last night.
That's 52 then.
Exactly each.
Yeah.
It was even. Who would have thought? How does it balance out like that?
Look, that last quarter, Brisbane started getting a lot of even as I thought. And I actually think if you watch football, if you look at the free kick count at 3/4 time, and there's a disparity, there's a really good chance that last quarter the team's got less frees, starts getting frees, and it evens out. And there's no reason they should be even. But I've always thought, in terms of frees, you pay a free kick, it immediately breaks up congestion. The AFL are really redundant in thinking that...
Are they? Oh, we'll fuck them off then.
In thinking, let's just let the game roll. Let's let the game roll. Don't pay free kicks. It's like, well, if you're letting the game roll, that's just leading to more tackles, more imprecise disposals, more congestion around the ball. It's like, well, how's that actually keeping the game moving? Just pay a free kick, congestion breaks, players have to lead, keeps the game moving much better. So, who are we going to listen to? James Brayshaw or...
I think the problem is you...
Lee Matthews.
If you don't get the ledger balance, the scales of justice tip in one direction, and that's bad for the game.
Who cares? As long as they're there, I don't care if it's 50 free kicks.
Oh, no. I pore over the umpire stats at the end of the season. If they're not even, I can't sleep for a year.
Are you sure that's not because of the grand final loss at the end of the season?
No, that's most years.
Tony Shaw poses Collingwood should go after Buddy Franklin.
But we've got Mio.
I know, I agree.
Why would we want to downgrade?
In fairness to Tony Shaw, he made these comments before last night's game.
Was he drinking?
I don't know.
He should be.
Would you go after Buddy Franklin if he was a bargain?
No, I actually probably would go after Buddy as long as we gave up first 2 round picks for him. Because what is he? He's 25 and in the peak of his career?
No, I think he's 34 in a couple of months.
34?
Yeah.
Oh, he's got about 10 minutes left. All right, 1 first rounder. That's my final offer. No, I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't either. I mean, to me, the forward line's not the thing that's actually not working. People go, oh, but you need a key position. And it's like, well, we're kicking scores. So when the forward line's not working, I think it's because of the delivery from the midfield. I was shocked to read yet again that Braden Sire is out of favour and opposition clubs should target him.
Is Gary Lyon behind this again?
That was Mitch Cleary, I think.
Ah. Cleary in present danger.
Do you think Braden Sire is out of favour?
No, I think he's just out of the senior side.
Yeah, in round 5.
Yeah, everything I read on the internet's true. So there's surely where there's fire, there's smoke.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand with Sai, he had like a extremely bad flu, so he missed a lot of the preseason. He's had a rib injury, which has impacted his breathing, so he hasn't, had a chance to show his wares and earn his spot back. But apparently he's out of favour at round 5. If he made this call at round 15, he still hadn't played, I would say, maybe there's a little bit there, but it's round 5. It's insanely bad journalism.
Well, at the moment, he's going to have to work hard to get Callum Brown out of the side. So,
Callum was good last night.
Yeah, we should have probably covered that in the match bit. Can we rewind?
No.
That was meant to be a tape running backwards.
You weren't just...
I'm not Michael Winslow.
You didn't have a cat in the washing machine.
Not this week.
Pre-game.
I sat on the couch and waited for the game to start. What did you do?
Mark Robinson said that... Said that Brisbane should have shunned Beams and not shaken his hand before the game.
Do you think Robbo's got issues? When was the last time you think someone shook Robbo's hand and then he wasn't shunned?
Well, you'd need one of those hazard suits if you're going to shake his hand.
What were those guys at Werribee wear when they shovel the shit away out of those tanks?
Carlton jumpers.
Ah, good.
I don't recall if Mark Robinson said that St Kilda should shun Brendan Goddard when Brendan Goddard left St Kilda for Essendon, or that GWS should shun Dylan Shield and Devon Smith, or that Bulldogs should shun Jake Stringer, or Gold Coast should shun Adam Sard. I mean, I don't recall...
Are you saying that his standards are doubled?
Yeah, I don't even think it's doubled. I think his standards are 1 out of 18.
He's a gem. Keep writing, Robbo.
Is that what you call it?
Well, keep shitting.
They should just print his column on like toilet paper. So
I think it is. That's what the Herald Sun is, isn't it?
I don't read it anymore.
Isn't it what you line bird cages with?
Herald Sun put up a paywall, and it's like, well,
it's the greatest thing they ever did.
Like,
Thanks.
I don't read
I
you
can't
anymore.
even accidentally come across your articles.
Yeah, there's this thing called the internet. It has a lot of other news avenues. Also.
I think they put up a shit wall.
It's to keep the shit in. Finally, I saw something possibly called The Kick. I don't know. And I saw Richo do this the other week, where they rated players with emojis.
This can only end well.
I actually recall...
Is this a Sony film?
No. I recall great Collingwood supporter Ram did this about 5-6 years ago. He was the pioneer of rating by emojis. Ram, you have a lawsuit on your hands, I think. They've just totally ripped off your intellectual property.
There's a lawsuit.
That's a good point. Anyway, that's it for Medium Acidic. We'll be back with the Anzac Day preview.
Yes, right after these messages.
More messages. Okay, so we're back with the preview for the Anzac Day clash against Essendon.
Oh, are we playing Essendon on Anzac Day?
Yes, and worryingly, it's a short turnaround. It's a 7-day turnaround. I don't know how we'll manage it.
We're going to get up. And we have to carry the plane on our backs.
We should probably follow Carlton's lead.
Why?
They've had about a 32-game turnaround since their last win. So they're just saving themselves.
Don't worry, boys. There's a win coming.
Yeah. I actually looked at their fixture. They've got Dogs and then North and then us or something like that.
Oh,
so.
Well, don't worry, boys. You're fucked.
Only injury concern as far as we're aware, James Aish was concussed.
Someone had a big bag of ice in their leg. Was it Howe at the end of the game?
Well,
was it Aish was concussed, was it?
Aish was concussed when... I can't remember the play, but he went for mark of the year and just kneed Aish in the back of the head.
Okay. But there was someone wearing a bag of ice on their leg at the end.
That was the Corky, yeah.
I think it was Howe.
Well, if Howe's got a Corky, he's out for 10 rounds.
That's true. Maybe I got it wrong. I can't remember.
I mean, the ice and that doesn't worry me too much because everyone sort of played out the game. Well, everyone did play out the game.
Mio, I think, in the post-match interview said he copped a knock and had to keep moving. So he had a bit of a corky, but he wasn't ice.
Yeah, he had a corky on the hip or something.
Yeah, he got...
Well, that's the only way they could stop him. They tried to hamstring him. What do you think about this game coming up against the Bombers? At the time of recording this, we don't know what they've done this week. They're playing North Melbourne in about a few hours.
Well, we can do something here. How much did they lose this week? How much did they win by this week?
That was probably the bravest, worst, strongest, weakest, most dashing, most insipid performance
You know,
I've
when
seen.
people talk about their performance this week, you can say nothing but all the above.
Yeah. What do you think? I mean, Essendon, they beat Melbourne, they smashed Brisbane. So they're starting to run into form. They were touted as a final side, you know, like a genuine contender.
Well, like Marlon Brando.
Could it be? Yeah, like Brando. What do you think about this match coming up in a week?
I actually feel this is a bit of a danger game because I think their momentum at the moment, as silly as it is going to give them a lot of confidence. Is Danaher back this week? There was talk about him coming back in at the time of filming this. I don't think the teams have been announced. No, definitely not. So he comes back in this week. He gets a bit of a run before next week, and I don't really fear him, but I fear him at the same time. But I do worry about this game. I don't know why, but I worry about it.
I think we'll smash them.
Well, let's put that to bed. I'm feeling a lot better now.
I don't know. I mean, Essendon... I don't know how to rate Essendon.
Well, at the moment, it's just really Tip and Guaddy and some other blokes.
Yeah, and Tip and Woody, I reckon for a few years there, he was just really not a very good forward in terms of attacking. He was a great defensive forward. He ran around, applied pressure. This year, he actually seems to have developed that attacking side to his game. He's doing some really nice work. The only thing with Essendon, I look at when teams build from the ground up, or premiership teams build from the ground up. So you get, Richmond, Bulldogs, and all that. They tend to tend to hit rock bottom, and then they go, okay, we need to build this from the ground up. Essendon, and also because of that drug suspension for a year, I don't know if they were rebuilding, but then they seem to get a lot of spare parts from different places, and they seem to now just be recruiting like the Stringers, the Smiths, the Shields. And I just don't know what to make of that team. It seems like, it's not a bad list, but it's
They're
really
a hanger-in-a-rara club.
Yeah, it's that to me. They seem more the sort of club that would sit around 6 to 8 for about 4 years because no one's ever actually identified whether they've needed to rebuild this team or if they're just trying to plug gaps and all that. So I don't look at them and think you're a great team. But all right, maybe I'm totally wrong.
But they got McGrath, king of the vanilla midgets.
Well, I just look at their side and I think they've got a few dangerous players like Stringer and that who have some genuine X factor. I don't know who their ruck is. It's probably still Bell Chambers. Joe Danaher is obviously a good player, but he's been out for pretty much a year.
And even if he comes back, he's going to be underdone. He hasn't come back through the VFL.
No, Dunn won't be playing. He'll probably play under Roughhead.
But I was over Roughhead, and Roughhead was underdone.
Yeah, they've got a few good players, but they really seem just a very workmanlike team a lot of the time. And I think you got to keep their better performances in the context of who have they played. They've beaten Melbourne, who's been struggling also. They've beaten Brisbane, who, they had been playing well, but it is still Brisbane young team coming up on the road. And they're going to play North, and again, North's struggling themselves. So,
what do you think would be more beneficial if they beat North or lose to North this weekend?
I'd rather they'd probably beat North.
But that's going to give them a little bit of impetus to continue this.
What I would hope would happen, this is just me and wishful thinking. Last year when we played them in Anzac Day, they a little bit, I can't remember what their win-loss ratio, it wasn't great, but they were still being touted as a good team. And they played us and we just totally shut them down. And they really struggled the whole game. We ended up smashing it. And I just think when they have
More of that, please.
Yeah. And that's what I think is when they play us, it'll be a different standard. I know we've lost 2 games to Geelong and West Coast. But those 2 losses, those are the form teams at the moment. And we didn't play well. And we had a lot of errors in both games. And yet we just lost both games. And I'm thinking our upside, as we showed last night, is considerable, whereas with Essendon, I just think they haven't really been tested. So this is what I think. I think they'll be tested and they'll be found wanting. And if they're not, then that clock will go back about 9 hours, or forward about 9 hours.
I like winning on Anzac Day.
I like winning. Do more of it. Any final thoughts? What's your tip?
Well, I think we'll win by 34 points. Because I'm supremely unconfident. Okay. Only 34 points.
You almost got last week, right?
No, actually, when I went back and reviewed the footage, it was I predicted 24. Although maybe early in the round I said 68.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't remember.
I think it'll
This
win.
show's just not important enough to remember any amazing facts out of it.
So would you say 34 points?
34 points.
I don't think it'll be a blowout to that extent. 33 points.
Well, let's see who wins.
Okay, so you know the drill. Subscribe, somewhere around there. Leave comments. Like us on YouTube. Also like us on our Facebook page. Feel free to post on our Facebook page.
And whatever it is you people do with liking a podcast, do that.
And we're also a podcast too.
Yeah.
And
We're on Spotify. We're still waiting for Apple to get back to us. I think we're a little bit too confronting for Apple. I think because you just bagged the product for too many years.
I have never bagged Crapple.
Oh.
Have a great Easter, and we'll see you after Anzac Day.
Don't eat too much chocolate.
No, eat a lot of chocolate. It's
No,
great.
You got it. Buys by 74 points.